full disclaimer, Luria's got some crazy machinery going on in her back behind her head there. And so if you hear something,
Always.
and it's
The moment you want to do something, they go fixing the roof.
and it's always when you have like somebody who's an expert on live video or a podcast, they're like, why does it sound so crappy? It always happens that way. So, but just know that it's going to clear up in a little bit. She's checked with them. They're going to quit hammering or whatever. But this is going to be a great show for you guys because we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics is video, live video, and also how to make money with it. So if you're that person or you know of somebody who needs this video, make sure you mention them down below. This is pre-recorded because I am actually right now, this is weird, it's kind of Inception, I'm speaking at PodFest in Orlando while this is being released. So, but we're still going to come back and answer comments and questions, anything you have, and call those people in because we really do want to make this show all about you and interact with you after the show and all that stuff. So because Luria's got some really cool stuff that she's going to share with us today and an opportunity for you folks. So make sure you stick around. So what I'm going to do, Luria, is I'm going to hit go on my podcast machine and we'll get the official show started. Hello, folks. Welcome to Social Media News Live. I'm Jeff C., and you're not. And this is the show that helps you keep up to date on what's happening in the world of social media. And today we are going to be talking all with Luria Petrucci about how to make money with live video and video content. And so she's got a new course that's going to unlock the secrets of video creators and live streamers that they're using to create videos that actually grow their audience and grow their revenue. So if you're a video creator or you want to be, you'll want to tune into this episode of Social Media's Live. Wherever you're watching, tag a friend or a colleague who's decided to embrace video in 2023. If you're listening on the podcast, make sure we're going to be shouting out these links all throughout the show today. Make sure you guys go there, check out Luria's stuff because it is amazing. Because it's not just for creators looking to make money from their content or products. We're going to be talking about how to use live video if you offer a service, courses, speaking gigs, or consulting. We're going to cover on how you can make money with more revenue potential from affiliates, ad revenue, sponsorship, merch, and more. Luria, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a while and I love hanging out with you.
Yes, it has been. We used to catch up a lot at conferences and it's just that kind of has gone away. But, I've been stalking you since I think you've been on video and I continue to stalk you wherever you go and you're still just cranking stuff out. It's just amazing.
Are you saying you've been watching me for 17 freaking years?
I think so. I mean, back when you were Callie Lewis.
Wow.
I think that's when I first started.
You're not sick of me yet.
No, I still keep showing up. So you guys, if you don't know who Luria is, let me tell you, you're going to want to follow her everywhere. She is a live video strategist and speaker. She's helping create professional live videos that's uniquely you. She has created over 6,000 videos with over 1 billion views using video and live streaming shows. She's appeared on CNN, NBC, Fox, BBC, MSNBC, and ABC, and has worked on live videos for top brands like AT&T, Samsung, GoDaddy, and Panasonic. And she's also helped build video studios for top influencers like Amy Porterfield, Pat Flynn, Donald Miller, and Michael Hyatt, some of my favorite people out there. So she knows what she's talking about, folks. So you want to listen up with this and all the advice she's going to be giving you. You know what also is a big part of having a great studio is our sponsors, Ecamm. See how I segued into that just really easily there?
Was so beautiful.
Yes. So you guys, they just rolled out with the 4.0, which is amazing. You know, I've been talking about this for a while. They have some really cool stuff with, they've been having isolated audio for a while. Now they have isolated video. So when this show's done, I'll have a clean feed of myself, Luria, the full show, everything, and I can use it to repurpose, which saves me a ton of time. So if you want to find out more about that, check out 4.0. Make sure you go to socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm. That's socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm. All right, Luria, we got all that stuff out of the way. It's starting to calm down. But we're going to be talking today about, making money with video because, some of this stuff people think it's kind of a hobby, but then it's like, I could really make some money with this. And video's been out for a long time. You've done it since video was on the internet. So how can you really make money from live video? I mean, I know people think like, I've been doing this, I've been having a show, or, I've thought about it. Is there really a way to make money with video?
Yeah, absolutely. There are two kind of entry points, really, right? Whether you're an entrepreneur and you're coming to this thinking, I want to do video or live to grow my business, right? Sell my
Mm-hmm.
product, use it as a marketing tool, or whether you're a video creator really wanting to grow this audience. Have a community around like-minded content, and hopefully, yeah, we make some money at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it's all really the same strategies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that a lot of people get caught up in some of those decisions on the front end, but at the end of the day, making money is absolutely possible, and you go through the same processes regardless of where you're starting out.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I can tell you, I had a student, Andy Smiles. She showed up to my world, and she was like, you know what, I'm a bookkeeper. I want to use live video because that's all the rage.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to use it to sell my bookkeeping services. So I'm like, great, let's do it, right?
Right.
And I told her, like, you don't have an audience yet, so you're going to have no viewers. So just be ready for that. And that's normal. We're going to use this content to generate those views, right? To generate an audience. And she just showed up, and she covered up, she took a post-it, she covered up that view count on her live video.
That's great.
And she had the show flow as we talk about it, so that it was a structured piece of content, so that it didn't rely on needing live viewers.
Mm-hmm.
And she showed up, like 100 people were there, like just delivered and
Wow.
delivered big. And when you show up, regardless of the view count, good things happen. 24 hours later, even though she had 0 views live, she had 1 viewer, and it was the right viewer who
Mm-hmm.
signed a $3,000 contract. That snowballed into more later, and referrals from that single client. So it is a powerful, powerful thing, live, recorded,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, shorts, as long as you're showing up. And I think that, one of the biggest issues that we face, and I'm all about the real talk, is ego. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean, Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is part of the thing that we deal with when we're
Right.
trying to create video that we want to monetize, and we're like, we get ahead of ourselves. And
Right.
so there are many different ways to make money through video. And I like to look at it as though you're monetizing on the platform, and you've got to monetize off the platform. And this is a really important distinction.
Mm.
Um, Jeff, you were just talking about like some of your Amazon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Monetization.
Yeah.
That would be like on the platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's platform revenue, like affiliates, or sponsorships, or AdSense on
Right.
YouTube. There are many ways to monetize on the platform, and that's great. And it's dangerous to rely
Right.
solely on, it's like, if that platform goes down, if Amazon shuts your account off, if
Right.
YouTube, its algorithm changes and doesn't send you any love anymore, like if you get sick and you need to take a break, having to put that content out there and rely on it to generate money
Mm-hmm.
is a dangerous proposition. So you really want to have a diversified model where you have at least one on platform and one off platform. And those would be products, services, coaching, consulting, things that you can have that you control a little bit more, so that you can scale that
Yeah.
monetization.
I think everybody has learned over the past 2 or 3 years that you have to be diversified to survive. I mean, I don't know
I
about you.
would
I know,
argue with that. I don't think people have learned that.
well, you're probably right. But I mean, I was very blessed that I was able, during the whole COVID thing, it's like
Mhm.
things switched. They moved.
Yeah.
People quit, like they freaked out and didn't want to spend money on certain places. They did in others. And so
Yeah.
being able to pivot, but having those spots like you're talking about that a lot of people don't think about. They're thinking like, I just got to do, a live show every week and I'm going to be fine. Well, you got to think about, okay, what if that goes away? And the more
Mhm.
spots you're out there, the better off you'll be. So
Absolutely.
One of the things, and I wanted to do a little callback. You mentioned your show flow when you were talking there,
Mm.
and I had been still a part of your community, and I remember you had really hammered that in, and that's what we use every week on the show.
Nice.
We have a 3-point thing. You saw the thing that Grace sent you.
Mm-hmm.
We use that every week. We have that, and that has saved our bacon so many times
Good.
because we use that. So I've been, like I said, following your advice for years, and I think it's really helped with our success with what we do. One of the
That's
things I
awesome.
wanted to talk a little bit about, and we've been talking about this in the last couple of shows. We had the Anna and Fujins on from Ecamm Network last week, and before that we had Katie on. We've been talking about the creator economy,
Yes.
and one of the things that I think a lot of people struggle, and I know Grace, if she were here, she would want to ask this question, is, you're a creator and you're also your brand. How do you deal with not getting burnt out? Because you know how it is. It feels like it's all on you. You're the brand. You're the face of that. You're the one creating content, and that can be a little bit overwhelming. So how do you
Yeah.
deal with that as a creator?
It really, at the end of the day, it's about thinking about the end result,
Mm-hmm.
right? What do you want, and how are you going to build that?
Mm-hmm.
And you start there, you work your way backwards, right? So that's about those monetization efforts. It's about the diversification. What is the type of business that you want? For me, it's an 8-person team, like,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty large in the creator economy. And I'm going to scale that even further this and next year.
Right.
But maybe you don't want that, right? Maybe you
Mm-hmm.
want to keep it small. Maybe you want to just have you and like a couple of people who support you part time. That's also okay. Like, but you have to identify that. You have to know
Mm-hmm.
what it is you're trying to build towards, because if you don't have that clarity, you are going to wind up trying to do all of the things. You're going to say yes to all of the things, and you are going to burn out. And I have experienced that
Mm-hmm.
big time a few times. But like, after 10 years, you were talking about having watched me back when I was
Right.
using my alias. I had done that for 10 years, and I was doing the same content for 10 years. And
Mm-hmm.
I started to really, I started when I was like, young 20s, and I
Right.
was into my 30s now. And I was like really needing to grow as a person. And I couldn't. I felt trapped.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of emotion that went into that. And I got so burnt out, so done with doing what I was doing. And I just blew everything up, changed my name.
Right.
And most people don't come back from that. I see it time and time again. Their channels go dead, and they're never to be heard from again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something we want to avoid big time, right? I
Right.
did come back, and I started from scratch, and I had to rebuild literally from zero revenue, 0 views. And, it taught me a lot about
Right.
this process, having to do it twice. So you can do it once,
Right.
but avoiding that experience, like, because I never want anyone to go through what I went through ever again.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's my mission, is to really help you think through those things. And so you want to have a diversified business, know the end goal of what you're trying to build towards, and then you can start to put into strategies like simple things that are like, content repurposing. So you're
Right.
doing
Yeah.
more with less.
Mm-hmm.
And then more advanced strategies down the road that will enable you to take the things off of your plate.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that piece of advice I think is huge, because it's easy to get, in that circle and not taking, time for yourself.
Yeah.
One of the things that you have been through, like all these ups and downs of being a video content creator, and one of the things I think is so, because you've done it twice, like you said, is you can really empathize with people, and because you've been there, and people forget that everybody starts with 0 viewers. Like everybody starts with 0, and you've done it twice, so you have like, you know what it's like to go through, so you can empathize with them. But so you've weathered all these things. You are the definite go-to person when it comes to live streaming, and now you're launching, which we're going to talk about now, is this accelerator program to help people see success faster than you did. And you can tell by the way your passion in your voice, the way that you present with all the energy that you do. Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration and motivated behind your continued passion for live video, because it hasn't waned. And I mean, you have had those ups and downs, but you are so passionate about it and you continue to do it. And because you're putting out so much content, if you weren't passionate, it would be a chore, but it really
would be.
You really like it. But so what sustains you? What keeps you going to crank out this kind of content?
That's a really great question. My whole mission, my whole purpose in life and what I do is to be other people's mirrors, to instill confidence in them, to show them how amazing they are and what good they can do in the world. Because we all have these desires, right? We have these, like, you're creating content for a reason, because you want to do good in the world. You want to put yourself out there and build something and impact others, right? But that's, for me, like, that end result of you feeling confident, you feeling like you are making a difference in the world, is really where I get my drive and my fuel. Because when I see people like one of my students, Kevin McAleer, who had been kind of beating a dead horse with content for a little while, and then he got clear on the right things to do at the right time and really honed in on the process. He went like 5,000 subscribers, 7,500, 10,000. And now he just passed the 10,000, not dollar mark, 10,000 subscriber mark, and is already at like over 13,000. He's just snowballing. Right. And I think that that's so exciting to see, because the difference that he's making in his community with robotics and Raspberry Pi and all this amazing stuff, like, it's huge. So that's what drives me day in and day out at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I still am a big fan. I don't think there's anything like live video out there, because it's just such a great way to build a community and connect with people.
It really is.
And I just,
it's most powerful.
Yeah, watching you do it, even, when we were first started, and like I started on Google Plus back in the day, was like, doing those. It was the Wild West with the Google Hangouts, and had live video before everybody else did. But a lot of us got into this business out of curiosity. Like, live streaming was this new and unknown thing, and maybe we were just doing it as a hobby. So how do we transfer, like, sure, here's the thing I do each week, to actually a business plan? And like, how do we go from, doing live video as a hobbyist to an actual entrepreneur?
Well, you start doing, right? Let's kill procrastination, right? That's like step one, is to kill that procrastination. And the need for perfectionism is really why you're procrastinating, because you want to be the best. You want to do the best. You want to be seen as the best, right? And so, like, this perfectionism gets in our way. So we remove that first and foremost and just start doing and start taking actions. But you really got to, I think the biggest thing is understanding. Again, I'm going to come back to that end result, but there's two end results: your end result of what you're building and the end result of what the viewer is getting. And that's a really important distinction. So that end result of that viewer, what are they getting out of this? And when you get clear on both of those, then you can start growing the right, or creating the right content, growing the right audience, and you can start to release or ask for them to support you in a way, right? They're getting amazing content from you and they love to support you. So there are different things that you can do through each part of the process that will allow you to start generating some income. But it's really about thinking of yourself as an entrepreneur and thinking of yourself as a business. This is not just content that you're creating. You are growing a business. So if you want to make money at this long-term and sustainably, then you have to shift your mindset to make sure that you're building and making decisions for that end result.
So I want to talk about that model you mentioned a little bit. There was providing value, and then people, buy your stuff when it comes out. My friend, I produce Guy Kawasaki's podcast, and one of the things he always talks about, the NPR model. Like, he likes to give, and then have a pledge drive kind of a thing. And you're kind of saying that, but the thing I think that's different is you're constantly putting out content, and it's good content, but you also always have a call to action with that content. Like when I watch you do trainings, you train and give a lot of free great content, but you always have a plug. Like you always have a thing. And I think that's maybe the transition some people need to make in their mindset is like, it's okay to ask for something. Even if it's to sign up for your email list, it's okay to do that.
And I think it comes down to this. So the people that you and I talk to, they do have a good heart, right? You watching, you want to do something that will make a difference. You're doing this for a reason, not just to make money. And so I think that that's a really important distinction. With that good-heartedness comes this fear of selling, this fear of asking, this feeling of selling is icky and sleazy and yucky, and only bad marketers do it. Well, we do have to wear a marketing hat if you're going to make money with video. And it is a reality that you have to face. And the cool thing is, when you're, especially if you're doing live video, but when you're putting yourself out there and building that community, if you focus on that one word, community, and you're building loyal audience members, you're going to be able to turn this quote unquote harsh selling idea into something that's helping, serving, enjoyable for you and your audience. One of the things that I'm best at, if I do say so myself, is community and engagement. And part of that is, what I call a buzz building strategy. And it's really about teasing. It's about getting the viewers involved in whatever you're selling or offering. And I think that's key here, right? Is when you can get them involved in whatever you're creating for them. Why would you not have them involved, which is the mistake so many people make? When they're a part of that creation process, when they're a part of saying, this is what I would like from you, right? Like, yeah, I love your free content. And I also love this XYZ thing. Then it's fun, it's enjoyable, and everybody's excited. You're excited, they're excited.
Yeah. So I've always said, two of the examples that I use for building community with live videos, of course, you with your Livestreaming Pros, you've been doing that so well for such a long time. And also my friend Lou Mangello, who does WDW Radio, he does an amazing job. In fact, he's going to be I'll be speaking with him at Podfest. So I'm on a panel with him about this great topic. But you guys both do it. And I would encourage anybody who is wanting to do this and wants to turn it into a business, go look and deeply look at what Luria is doing, and also look at what Lou's doing, because it does not feel like selling. It really doesn't. It's an offering. There's no hard push. And I think that's one of the things that's really attractive to people is like, hey, if you want it, it's here, and you're welcome to partake in it. But hey, you can still be part of the community, and we have fun and all that stuff. So you guys are both great examples on that.
Well, thank you for that. I had to learn how to put my own personality into it and make it feel good to me, right? Because when I first began this process, it didn't feel good to me. And so I hear you. I know where you're coming from. And you figure out how to put your personality into it. So much so to the point that I will put something out there and people will literally buy it and then email our support and say, what did I just buy?
That's right. Yeah, a lot of people do that. Yeah.
Because they know I provide value. They know that I'm going to deliver bigger than I promise. And so now I have to. Great. No.
That's right. You're fine.
I shouldn't have said that. But I think there's something to kind of tap into. You said you always have something. And there are times, and I look at this as kind of two mindsets. There's the offer, the content that you're putting out with an offer that's just light. It's kind of a light model, right? And you mention it, and people do buy, right? Maybe it's an affiliate link, maybe it's your own product. Sarah Renee Clark on YouTube does this very well. She she has coloring books and an artist cube and stuff like that. And she just uses her own products, right? And then people buy. And so there's that soft selling, right? Where it's just like there and people will buy. And that will get you here, right, in terms of income and building a sustainable business. And there's also where you have to kind of take it to the next
Right.
level and launch further. And so you really do need a couple of times a year, or depends on what you're doing, but you need some time frames
Right.
where you are offering something intentionally with focus, and that will propel your income further, so that that you can pay the bills, right? So
Right.
you have that sustainable business, and you're not just hoping people buy.
Yeah. And the other thing is you're able to help more people the more that you're able
Exactly.
to grow and scale and do all that stuff. It's funny
Yeah.
you mentioned this, and I just wanted to say this because Lou has said the exact same thing when I've talked to him. So he has Patreon, and one of his like the top plan, I think, he sends like a gift package, and he has the exact same thing. People say, I just want to support you. You don't have to send me the package. It's like that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. It's like
yes,
they want to
exactly.
give back. And so there's that whole thing. And then what you said earlier too about don't being afraid to ask, because it helps you propel your visits forward. And that's what we're going to do right now, because we make sure you go to socialmedianewslive.com/ecam, because they are another people who have incredible community. Luria is a part
Oh
of
my
that. I
gosh,
see her
so
in there.
good.
See her in there all the time. And so they are what makes this show possible. That's how we're able to continue to do this show, by you guys supporting them, help support us. So go to socialmedianewslive.com/ecam. Okay, Lori, this is a question that I know a lot of people have. So, you've been coaching all these clients for so many years. You've got so many students that you've helped throughout the years. What are some of the pitfalls or faulty thinking that you see new or beginning streamers or video creators that they tend to fall in time and time again? You could probably put it in a frequently asked question document. You've seen it so much.
Right. Getting ahead of themselves.
Mm,
We have all of this advice out there, right? That's the
right.
wonderful part of the world that we live in now, is that there's all this free advice, and that's great, and it causes overwhelm and confusion.
Hmm.
And so what I see so many people doing so often is just seeing these different things and saying, oh, I need to do all of them. And when in reality, when you are kind of at the beginner phase, like you
Hmm.
haven't created content consistently yet, and you still don't even know like what content you're creating, you shouldn't be doing things that other people who have been at this for 17 years, or
Hmm.
whatever, right, 5 years, a year.
Hmm.
There are different things that you need to be focusing on doing in your journey. I think that, going back to something you said earlier, I was having a conversation actually on our masterclass. Somebody said, I only have 817 viewers, I think it
Right.
was. Only. That's a
Yes.
mindset issue,
It
right?
is.
Like,
Yeah.
congratulations, you have 817. That's
Yeah.
amazing for where you are in your journey, right? We're going to grow that.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's going to get bigger. Yes. And you are where you are, and you are okay being where you are. Like,
Hmm.
that's, and you just need to be doing specific things to get to that next phase, right? To that next process. So,
Right.
I think that mindset, comparing yourself to others, which is a big problem in this world, and just doing all of the things and the wrong things at the wrong time.
Yeah. So let's talk about it, because we've kind of danced around a little bit. Let's talk about your thing that you're launching right as we speak. So talk about that, and like the program, and how it, why people, who needs to get it, for first of all. I mean, like, it is the landing page alone. I was like, oh, that's good. That's great. That's good. All the stuff you're
I
offering.
guess you do.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
already in there, though.
So, what is it about, and who needs it?
It's really geared at, entrepreneurs or content creators, anybody who's creating video content with the hope of generating revenue, right?
Hmm.
And that is really, but that you don't want to have just this kind of spinning wheels
Right.
process,
Right.
right? It's really important to say, I don't want to be just doing all of the things at the same time. I don't want to be spinning my wheels. I want to be focused. I want to take the actions, and I want to get rid of all of the fear, the procrastination, the frustration zone
Hmm.
of doing all of these things and not seeing any traction. So that it all comes down to my deep, deep, deep desire to not see you do the same things that I have done in the past when I'm making those big mistakes. And it's looking at the bigger picture. We all go through in our video creation journey to make money. We all go through these 4 different phases of growth that really get you from one thing to another thing to another thing. And that's very key to seeing that growth. Like I was talking about, you can't do all of the things. And so you get focused, you get clarity, and you get results.
That's and where can people find, like, for the podcast listeners? I know we've been putting up Luria's lower third on the show, but where's the best place people can find out about this? Because there's a lot of great information just on that page.
So we're running a free masterclass. So this is a free training, and we can start there. We'll dive into all of the different things that you need to know about getting that clarity. And that is at livestreamingpros.com/masterclass. You have a link in the description that's, hey, as we're talking about making money, if you like Jeff, you like this show, then you can click their link. And that is actually an affiliate link so that you can support your favorite creators, right? And so learn by seeing how others are doing. Of course, that's part of this process. And so, yeah, I would love to see you at the free training so that we can kind of give you that big picture, talk about these different 4 phases, and really help you understand what it is that you shouldn't be doing, that you should be doing, and where you're going to get stuck. I've talked a little bit about it here, but I just like real talk, and I'm going to tell you like it is. And, let's make this. I think we get so caught up in trying to look perfect, trying to be perfect. I am not all about that at all. Like, we do go through some big emotions. We deal with a lot of self-doubt. We deal with a lot of ego in this space. And it's okay as long as you can recognize it and get over it, right? And that's one of the things I love to support our students doing, is getting past themselves.
Yeah. So for those who are listening on the podcast, make sure that you go to livestreamingpros.com/masterclass to get that. If you're not, it's like you're listening to this and it's a year later, you still want to follow Luria everywhere at livestreamingpros.com. So, and I thank you for the affiliate shout out. But here's the thing: I'm talking about community real quick, and this was not planned, but one of the things is, because you have a community and you build friends online and you start doing these shows, I am more than happy to try to push Luria out. And I knew that if I ever came out with something, that she would do the same. And that's the cool thing about building this community with live video, is that you make all these connections and you help each other out. And there's this real community feeling, like, I'm doing this for, my friend Eric Fisher, I'm being on his show, and Luria's on mine. I mean, so that's really, really cool. So don't discount that community. And you don't do it in a way because I can use Luria later to launch my stuff. It's nothing like that. It's the community, and everybody wants to help each other succeed. So don't discount that when you're setting up and you're thinking through your strategy, because it is a huge deal. So appreciate Luria for that. Let's go real quick, because I was really impressed with the way you broke down these 4 steps. So you said there are 4 steps every content creator goes through in order to achieve their first $5,000 in revenue. And I really loved how you put a number on, like, you can make this much money if you do some of these things. So you talked about the 4 real growth phrases, and I know you're going to dive into this in the masterclass, but can you just do a little brief overview, and you'll find out more during the masterclass, but I want you to kind of go through these a little bit.
Yeah, it's helpful to understand, like I was talking about, not doing the wrong things at the wrong time, so that you can kind of section off your focus, section off the things that you're taking action on. And that 5K a month is of expected recurring revenue, not just willy-nilly stuff, right? Because that doesn't help you build a business. So we want to, that is kind of a key differentiator of, okay, like, now I do have a business that I can put on repeat, and I can take it even further than that. But we got to get there first. So the first phase is the root phase. Phase one, rooting the foundations, really understanding what your content is about, creating consistently, and really honing in on who you're talking to so that you have that end result for them. And then phase two is all about establishing an audience. And I really like to go a step further, establishing a community. When you get engagement, when you create that deep sense of community you were just talking about, that is the magic behind all of this working. Like, people don't put enough focus on that. When you have an engaged audience, they'll buy from you, they'll support you like Lou, and they will drive your business forward. They'll be your ambassadors. And then phase three is all about accelerating to 1K. That 1K is kind of a magic number because it proves to yourself that you can make $1,000, right? Like, okay, and not even recurring, just $1,000. Let's just hit that 1,000. And then also it's that 1,000 subscribers as well. And that is a bit of a magic number in terms of, if you're like, especially if you're on YouTube, right? You can monetize on the platform, and that allows you to diversify. So then the fourth phase is leap. You're leaping to that 5K, and you're leaping, and really you're taking yourself and proving to yourself in the leap phase that you're capable of way more than you ever thought you are. Like, it is really where a lot of magic happens. So you're feeling good there.
So once again, make sure you guys go to that masterclass for these proven strategies. She's going to talk about she just kind of glanced over them here, but she's going to dive deep into those, and you can find out those at livestreamingpros.com/masterclass to get that free masterclass. I know I will be there, or I'll bug Luria for the replay later. But
we're not doing replays. The show's
I know, live. But I'm just hoping I may have an inside track. Anyway, we'll go there later. One of the things that you've talked about with these four phases is that you talked about getting that first 1,000, and that is a huge deal. Like, I remember when that happened, and it was like my content. Not me working for somebody else doing stuff for them, but my content just made me $1,000. Like, it was me. It was stuff I did. I was a craftsman, and this was a thing, and somebody bought it, or I bought enough that it was 1,000, and that is a huge shift. You don't think it is. You're like, 1,000, that's whatever. But when it clicks, and you see, like, that's real money I can spend on, like, ice cream. There you go. It's a big deal.
Important to you, Jeff.
That's right. There's a lot of, any sort of food would be a win for me. But it really does make a big difference. So I love how you broke that down in those phases, how it's a systemized thing. And that's the other thing. Luria's always done a great job with figuring out systems, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later too. This next question, and we teased this in the show promo and in the social post, so I really want to talk about it. You talked about a little bit at the start of the show, but making money from only one live viewer. So what, you teased it a little bit and told a little bit of the story, but what did they do that made that particular stream successful to get that conversion?
It's really in her confidence and how she showed up. I think that at the end of the day is the reason why it worked. And we get so nervous with live video, especially, but all forms of video, in showing up. We have this massive self-doubt in ourselves that you've got to overcome. And at the end of the day, that's what I do for our students is no, let's get you past that. Right. Because you do need somebody to show you who you really are, because you see somebody different in the mirror than you think, and you think everybody sees that, and that's not true. So it's really the confidence of how she showed up. She knew exactly what she wanted to say, and she said it, and then she didn't focus on ego. I'd say that's the number two thing, or really number one thing, right? She didn't allow ego to get in her way. She covered up the view count so that she didn't allow ego to get in the way.
See, I think that's genius. And I think one of the things that, even when we talk about podcasts or something like that, is the consistency of showing up and doing and always failing forward. Like you're gonna
Yes.
you're gonna make mistakes. Things are gonna break. You're not gonna do things right. You're gonna fumble over your words, which I have done numerous times already during the show.
You do
But
probably.
you just continue to move forward. So um, this is the question that I think a lot of people have a mindset of, like they see the creators who like they're doing unboxing videos, or they're selling a digital course, or they're selling something like that. They understand, okay, I understand how video can work for that. But how can live video make you money or lead to more business for your service businesses like plumbers or consultants, or even doing a speaking gig somewhere?
Yeah.
How can that how can live video work for them in that way?
Yeah, so that's a great question. As on the course side, right? We sell courses, we sell programs.
Right.
We mention those on the videos. And on our services side, we have an entire line of services where we help you build your professional studio.
Right.
We may even build it for you. We'll give you the support. There's like lots of options, right? And so we have that entire line of services, and we rarely have to talk about it because people view our videos that are tech focused, studio focused. They see that and they're like, you do it well. Like, I mean, I can just show you. No, I can't because I have laundry over there. But I was going to show you the behind the scenes. I should have thought of that.
Right.
But I have 12 monitors and all this crazy stuff, right? And so I think it's just by doing the videos that lead to that end result of what they want leads us to the end result of what we want, because the two things match. And so people just come to us for services all the time, even without promoting them. Most of our audience actually doesn't know that we offer those.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but you have set up some studios for some pretty impressive people, which we mentioned at the beginning, which is very, very cool.
But they came because of the content. Like that, Michael Hyatt, I think, was our first one, and he sent an email and he was like, "Hey, I saw this video.
Yeah.
I want that.
Yeah.
Do it." Right? And so that's the true capability of doing the right content for the right viewer so that you get the right end result.
Yeah. Just another quick kind of callback with my friends, the Dealcasters who do Amazon Live. They have very polished videos that are different than everybody else, but they get deals because brands see that and they want that for themselves. And so once again, it's a great way. And we talked about diversification. Luria is very diversified. So if something happens, she can pivot and, focus a little bit more on this area or do her services business. And so super, super smart. And once again, she's a great example.
Well, if you don't mind a quick story on that,
Sure.
It's last year, I actually did get, I needed to take a step back. I had life get in my way for a couple of years, and I just needed to kind of take a step back and be a little internal. And I didn't put much content out there. I will be honest, 2022 was not the year of content for me. I was consistently live to show up for my community, but I didn't put a lot of videos out. And we had our biggest revenue quarter in Q3 last year without being consistent. So when you build the right diversification, you can actually grow like we did, right? Like at least be sustainable if life gets in the way, because life is going to get in the way, right? Something's going to happen that you aren't going to be able to be consistent. So prepare for it. Yeah.
So I wanted real quick for somebody who's wanting service. Jeff, you didn't give us anything about service stuff. Well, I'll put you to one person, to our friend Roger Wakefield, who was a plumber and total service-based business, and now I think he's left his plumbing business and just does content now for Lowe's and Home Depot and stuff like that. So,
wow.
I mean,
Roger does an amazing job at it. Yeah.
Yes, he is a good one. So I've always told people I don't know of any business that can't benefit from video or live video content. I don't know of any of them. So
I honestly think the only people who can't are spies.
That's probably right. That's probably right.
For the government, probably not.
Yeah, probably not the best way to be out there. So let's talk about some other ones, because affiliates is another way that you mentioned, ad revenue, sponsorships, merch. So talk about the merch. Because I know YouTubers and the big YouTubers have merch, but do little brands, does it work for having merch for that kind of stuff?
If and
Yeah.
only if you build a community, get
Mm,
engagement, right? Like, yeah, merch is, let's just have some real talk. Like, merch is not the biggest revenue stream for
right.
most creators. Merch, because of the cost involved to you, right?
Hmm.
And but Linus Tech Tips,
Oh
he
yeah.
spoke at my virtual event, and OMG, like, he makes a lot on that
Hmm.
because of his strategic efforts. And that's focusing on community, that's using your own product. We notice a total uptick in merch sales when I wear my own shirts, right?
Yeah.
And so that's part of it as well. And it goes deeper. It's really about creating a sense of identity within
Mm,
your community. You know, people put bumper stickers on their car, on their laptops, they tattoo,
right.
creators or brands names on their own bodies because they feel
Right.
this sense of
Right.
identity
That's
with
true.
that brand. And when you tap into that,
Hmm.
then you're going to have a much better time with merch sales.
Oh, that's genius. In fact, I have some of, I think it's a live streamer hoodie that I
Yeah.
have, and my daughter has stolen it, so I don't have one. So,
Oh
and
no.
she liked it
Okay.
so much,
We'll get you a new one.
she stole it. No, it's good. I mean, but it's funny that that was that good that she liked it. And we talked about diversification. We talked about all the different stuff there. So, one of the things with diversification, do you have a model or a standard that you do to allocate time? Like you mentioned, merch isn't
Mhm.
very,
Yeah.
it's not a moneymaker. It's a community builder. Courses, of course, make you money. How do you allocate it? Do you have a time every year that you sit down and like, okay, this made us the most money. We need to do more of that. So we're going to put X
Yeah.
amount of hours over there. How do you figure that out?
That's a great question. And this is part of that process of thinking like an entrepreneur in a business, right?
Hmm.
Is knowing where you are spending your time. And so for us, yes, yearly, I look at, I go to the beach. I
Hmm.
literally take myself out of my existing environment so I can dream, right?
Right.
And I start with my life. What do I want for my personal life?
Hmm.
So that I can craft a business to meet that. And so I'll give you a perfect example. This year, my word is balance,
Hmm.
because all of us, like, we
Yeah.
sometimes deal with a little bit of
Right.
workaholism.
Right.
I don't know if you're talking about me, but and so I love what I do. I'm passionate about what I do, and self care is massively important. And so for me, it's like, okay, what do I need in my life? And so we're building the business in a way that can be scalable with less of me. And those are really important things. But to answer your real question, yes, you got to look at the data. And so we look at data every day and week and look at, okay, like, this is the offering that makes the most money for the X amount of time. And we make decisions based on that, right? I won't
Hmm.
put a ton of effort into something. And if it's not making percentage wise, right, you got to look at percentage versus
Right.
actual dollar counts because everybody's in a different phase of their journey. So for me, at a high six-figure business, I if merch is bringing in 2% of that revenue, is it even worth it? Or you look at the opposite, how can we make it increased, right? How can it be a bigger part of that?
Mm.
And so getting clear on that will help you make the better choices. One exercise, I don't really talk about this publicly, but I love to have my students do it, is when you're thinking about all the things you can do or all of the things you have existing and where you're spending your time, write them all down and then rate them, 1 to 5
Mm.
on time spent, 1 to 5 on revenue generated. And when you have or if you have a low time spent and a high dollar revenue, then you know that that's a really good offering, right?
Hmm.
If you have high time and low money, then that's maybe something to reconsider, trash, or change.
Right. That's great, and I think everybody needs that time to do that
Yeah.
because it seems like you're taking time away from your business, but you're actually saving your bacon. Is what it is.
You absolutely are. This is the stuff that
Yeah.
that really leads to bigger
Right.
results, to scalability, to no burnout, to
Mhm.
sustainability. And Michael Hyatt, speaking of, he's
Yeah.
been massively helpful for me to really get my head in that zone.
Mhm.
And I've literally changed the way I look at all of this stuff. I used to hate the data. I love the data
That's right. You got to get into the data. So
now.
I have one little callback or comment before we move in really quickly to this last section. But one of your in your community, and he has a huge YouTube channel, and I'm blanking on his name, but he's the Mac guy. I wanted to talk about the opportunities that
Renee?
that video can do, like out of the blue. Like what? Yeah, Renee Ritchie.
Renee Ritchie?
Yeah, that I would watch his stuff. He was consistently putting out YouTube channels, and I mean YouTube videos, and now he's working for YouTube. I mean, so
He's YouTube's liaison, yeah.
yeah, I just think that is an amazing story because he's consistent. He was very solid, great videos, but live video and putting videos out there, you don't know what opportunities are going to come. I mean,
Totally.
he wasn't thinking that, I don't think at all. And all of a sudden
No.
it just came because he was
Yeah.
consistent and putting out great content. So I just thought that was a really cool thing when I saw that happen.
Yeah, that's a really great point, a great example. It happens so often. When I had 12 viewers
Hmm.
on my live streams, when I had to start back from scratch, I had 12 people watching. GoDaddy was one of those. Orange County Choppers was one of
Right. Oh
those,
yeah, yeah,
right? Like that led to business. And so
yeah.
it's very, very important that we allow ourselves to recognize that the right people are watching, right? In
Mhm.
Renee's case, he's been doing content as long as I
Right.
have, and we kind of grew up in this world together, and we've worked together, and I've seen how smart he works. He doesn't
Yeah,
just
he's
work
right.
hard,
Yeah.
but he works pretty smartly, and he's one person who loves the data.
Yeah.
He goes way further than I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's super smart about everything that he does, and really looks at making the right choices. And so
Mhm.
I think that's part of his offer or his opportunity to
Mhm.
become the YouTube liaison, and he leads with heart. He
Yes. Yeah.
deeply cares about every creator out there. He deeply cares about his community. He deeply
Mhm.
cares about the work he does. And so we cannot forget that piece
Right.
of it.
Well, and he, to be honest, he was a big YouTuber in my mind, and then I
Yeah.
saw him interacting in your community. I'm like, this dude's cool. Like he's. I mean, you know what I mean? No, I
He's
mean,
pretty
like
cool.
he was going in and like some of them don't answer questions or do that kind of stuff, but
Yeah.
he's solid. So I was really impressed.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, that little rabbit trail. I
Yeah,
want
no,
to
that's a
just
great
kind of
rabbit
wrap
trail.
up really quick because you do such a great job of these, and you send quite a few of them out.
Mhm.
And I know it's a big part of your strategy, part of your business. But can you talk a little bit about your using your email list to generate revenue? Because I really do
Mm.
think you're a great. I mean, I read most all of your emails that come through my
Oh,
inbox.
yeah?
Yeah, and so I just think it's a great way that you use it for your community and also to make money. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So I have two strategies. One, connection, right?
Mhm.
Just conversation. And so we've got to move, like when we don't want to rely solely on platform revenue, we also don't want to rely on the platforms for our communication with our audience. While a lot of that is happening there, we got to get them into a system that we can have a conversation with them.
Mhm.
Molly Mahoney, actually, what
Oh
was it
yeah.
last year when Facebook went down for 7
Mhm.
hours?
Mhm. Yeah.
Like she had a big event on Facebook. What would have happened if she had just not had an email
Right.
list and was hoping that everybody would see? Well, nothing, right? Because
Mhm.
Facebook was down. She was able to send an email to her list to move them into YouTube so that she could continue that event. Very, very, very vital for us to have that control. And I don't mean control in a bad way, but control. Like we
Right.
can't rely on the platforms. And so there's the strategy of communication,
Mhm.
and there's the strategy of action.
Mhm.
And so there's on the communication side, I just talked. Lots of people say like they love reading my emails. I'm just talking to my audience. So like I'm
Right.
just telling stories. I'm talking to them like they're a human being,
Mhm.
and I think that that's why people like that. And I ask them to reply to me, right?
Right.
I
Yeah.
ask for that engagement.
That's great. So let's kind of really make some practical advice for people who
Mhm.
are trying to grow their email list that supports their live streaming business. Like, what does that look like? Do you just start, hey, my show's up, coming up on this Friday at da 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 da, or how do you do that for a live show? Kind of. This is me getting free consulting, by the way.
Yeah, totally. That's funny. So I'll start with having just a benefit that they care about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, a lot of our audience on Livestreaming Pros channel cares about the tech, cares about
Right.
which camera to buy. I don't know how many times I answer the question, which camera should I buy? What camera are you using, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a free shopping list of the gear, which is personalized to them based on a couple of answers that they or questions that they answer. And so that's what we call lead magnet. And so we send them to that to get their shopping list that's personalized to them. They give us their email, right? And that's a typical lead magnet if you've heard that word. So we move them from the platform into the email list, provide value, right? We're providing that value. As soon as they show up in my email list, they actually get the next day, I think it is, an email that says, hey, do you want to just hear from me weekly, or do you want to hear about every new video and live stream that comes up? So I'm giving them the choice so that I don't overwhelm them when, they don't want to be overwhelmed. And so then we have kind of a segmented list at that point, and we have everybody who wants to hear about everything we do. And so then they get what they want, and these other people get only the things that they want. And I think that's an important thing, because then every live, I will send out that email to the people who have said yes, right? We want them to say yes. We want them to tell, Molly is really good at this, tell you that they want to take action with you, because that gives them power, and they do show up to the live. And there is that other part of the email. Like if I do have something big, right, a start to a launch or something big that I want them to show up to the live, you can always send an extra email. I just don't want to bombard them.
Yeah. So that tons of great advice. Do not, and I've heard you say this, and we've said it numerous times on the show. I wish I would have started doing my email list
so much
way earlier than I did. So, I mean, I think that should be part of your strategy right out of the gate. Launch a live show. If you don't have a call to action, you don't have anything to sell, do that. Like, hey, sign up for my email. I'm going to give you this, this, and this inside of it. And so that's a great way to do it. So, Luria, this has been, once again, I could keep talking to you forever. But
I love talking to you.
Yeah, so such great advice this show. I want to give you plenty of time to talk a little bit at the end here about your masterclass that's coming up and all the different things and where they can all find you. So as the blower goes in the background, we will let you.
Sorry about that, guys. They said they were going to be done in like 10 minutes, and here we are an hour later.
That's just the way it goes. We're fine. So tell people where they can find out more about you.
I'd love for you to come hang out with me on my live shows and see how amazing our community is. They do deeply care. Livestreaming or youtube.com/livestreaming pros. And also join us on the masterclass. I promise you, like the people who've come to this masterclass literally are like taking so many notes, and they're like, oh my God, mind blown. So I would love to see your mind blown inside of this training.
So I will say this, that I have never gone to any training or live stream from Luria that I said, well, I shouldn't have gone to that. It was boring, or that was a waste of my time. Never have I done that. And I've been to a lot of her live streams and a lot of her trainings. So take it from me. You'll want to go get this masterclass at livestreamingpros.com/masterclass. Go check them out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let us know you have any questions of anything we talked about today in the show. Any place that you're watching from, just let us know in the comments. We'll get back to those and try to answer them the best we can. Appreciate our show sponsor, Ecamm. You can find out more about them at socialnewslive.com/Ecamm. Thanks so much for you guys for watching today. Appreciate you. Let us know how we can help you in any way possible. And with that, we'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.